Hello everybody, welcome to Random Quick Draw. I am your host, Josh Hendry, and this is the show that is randomly fast and vastly random, where we take 4 different items from the roll of a dice and do a drawing or an illustration from it. So if you're there at home or in your own place where you'd like to draw, please feel free to draw along. Let's see what we got tonight. I rolled it a little bit earlier this evening. We're going to be drawing a dinosaur 3D printing with a bicycle and a bathroom. So it'll be cool to see what we get with that. I'm going to go ahead and write these down. Again, when this is completed, I will scan it in and make a vector kind of art version of it that you can download and color. And anybody who decides to color it, feel free to upload that and we'll just post it in the coloring gallery. If you'd like to play along with the actual sheet, this format sheet that I'm using, please feel free to join our email list and you'll get this PDF and then also the list that I'm drawing from currently. I shake it up from time to time, so the list does change, but this is the one I'm using for season 2. And let's see. Alright, dinosaur printing, 3D printing, bicycle, yeah, and a bathroom. That's pretty interesting. Alright, well, I guess the obvious thing to start with is a dinosaur. And I'm thinking T-Rex is what I'm thinking. I don't know. Why 3D printing in a bathroom? That's hard to figure out. Yeah. 3D printing. Bicycles and a bathtub. Not a bathtub, but a bathroom. But I'm thinking bathtub. Man, this is a challenge. Dinosaur. Start with a head. I don't know why I always start with a circle for the head, but I do. And I'm just kind of coming up with some random style of dinosaur. I realize that there are lots of different styles. Which, you know, I think off the top of my head, if I had to pick a favorite dinosaur that I've ever had, I would probably pick Yoshi from Super Mario Brothers. Although there might be other cool dinosaurs out there, I was around when Super Mario Brothers 2 came out, and Yoshi was one of the characters in there, and I have very fond memories of playing that game and finding all the secret shortcuts and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that was just that one's a nostalgic dinosaur for me, and but there are lots of dinosaurs out there. Think of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, and that's really, at the time, was just a really amazing 3D animated, computer-generated thing. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jurassic Park came out when I was in college, and I was at NC State University at the time. And we got a Maya lab my senior year as I was about to graduate. And for those of you who don't know, Maya at the time was what they had done Toy Story with, and Jurassic Park, I think, was done with Maya. But it was, when I was graduating, that was just really becoming a major thing. And we were really excited to have a lab with Maya in it, but it was sort of at the end of my career, so I did not really get into it or gravitate to it that much. I felt like I had already kind of spent my time in college learning a skill set, and that wasn't going to be part of it. I didn't feel like I could get all of that at the time. But I tell you, one thing that I've always loved to do, obviously one of the reasons why I'm doing this show, is I love storytelling and I love illustrating. So that's just one of my One of my passions is just drawing and putting personality into drawings. And let's see. What kind of dinosaur wants to be 3D printing bicycles? I don't know. I'm trying to think, is there any kind of bathroom that I can imagine that would accommodate a dinosaur for some reason? Now, maybe this dinosaur is in a pool, maybe? Not a pool, but a bathtub. I just don't know. I'm drawing a bathtub. How's the 3D printer gonna work? I don't like the idea of electricity and water being that close to each other. It's dangerous. So then there's probably going to be a bubble bath because that makes sense if you're in a bathroom. Maybe that makes sense. Now the good thing about 3D printing is you usually just get to set it and forget it. You come back later, so maybe my dinosaur is got a little back scrubber brush, maybe. Back scrubber brush. Well, it need to be like this, right? I don't know. I drew the head so big it's kind of hard to then do one of these numbers unless it were with this arm. And then the fingers this way. T-Rex fingers, don't you know? Does that register? I don't know if that even registers. Like, I don't know if that looks visually like it's a back scratching whatever scrubber brush. It seems really confusing visually. So maybe he's not doing that. Maybe there's a rubber ducky in the water with him. This one jacked up duck. Mm. I'm thinking maybe there's a mess. Maybe the water is running over because it's a dinosaur. Nobody expects a dinosaur to be neat in the bathtub or the bathroom. That would be ridiculous. I mean, we want it to be realistic. So. Alright, you need to find the center of a rectangle. What do? You draw an X. Woo! Alright, so maybe you draw one of these little knobs on there. Old school. And maybe it's got one of these little faucets coming out. Is that tall enough? I kind of get the feeling that should be taller up, higher up. Higher up, taller up. And then the faucet's coming out right about there. That makes sense? That seems to make sense right there. Pretty cool, I guess. And they usually got one of these little thingies for the shower. And then you got this little knobby knob that comes out like so. I feel like I'm dating myself with my faucet style. I feel like these are probably no longer the norm. But yeah, that's what I'm going with, man. The big faucet handle that looks like a diamond or a crystal. Alright, that water is running and splashing and spilling out over, and there are bubbles on the ground. Alright, so we are getting there with the dinosaur and the bathroom sort of vibe. Let's see, we'll run a high level of tile around the tub, I guess. Maybe it's a 3-wall, but where is the 3D printer going, man? There'll be a table here. A little table, maybe. Probably gonna be higher than the bathtub, I would guess. You got your 3D printer here. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure how this one's gonna turn out, my friends. We may have really done it this time. Now I gotta think about my 3D printer and what style it is. I only know a handful of styles of printers. I don't know that many. So my shape language, or the shapes that I can choose from memory, are somewhat limited, and on top of that I've never drawn them from observation, so that makes it equally challenging. But I know there's a bed. I know there's cross pieces. The bed usually goes this way, that way. This usually has some kind of threading to raise and lower it. Usually this is got 2 supports on either side to keep that bar good across there. Maybe that's good. Maybe. And then you usually got this little printer thingamabobber, the heating element with the fans and the housing. You got the little nozzle that's down, and you got the filament running into the heating element. I know some of this stuff. Then you usually got a roll of filament hanging out up here somewhere. Yeah, something like that. Sure, that's kind of close to what a 3D printer looks like, I guess. Maybe. Now we need a little bicycle on here because it's going to be 3D printing a bicycle. Yeah, bicycles are like really easy to draw without photo reference. Psst. No problem. Yeah. That looks so much like a bicycle, it's ridiculous. Just like a bicycle. And I'm sure there's like little pedals or something on there. Now, I do like mountain biking. That's something I grew up doing. So, one of those things I just really have a fondness for. Another one of those great memories from my childhood of just having a bike and being able to tool around. growing up in the mountains of North Carolina, there were always trails to ride, and it was just an exciting place to grow up, for sure. All right. Although, as much as I loved growing up in North Carolina, I definitely missed Florida as well because that's where I was born. And I am a fan of the warm weather, and I love the beach. Love the beach. I enjoy trying to surf. I can't surf. I at one point could kind of skateboard, and I can snowboard. But I don't think I've ever stood up on a surfboard for more than a couple of seconds. It's just a whole different animal trying to get up on a board that's wobbling like that. But it's awesome to watch people do it. And I always have enjoyed just getting out in the water. So, yeah. This one doesn't feel super lively for some reason. It doesn't feel like it's got enough. I like the water pouring out in the Dinosaur and the bathtub. All that's really good. 3D printing, man, it's like, if I'm going to have this on the list, I need to know how to draw some 3D printer, man. This is not... I'm drawing what I can remember of the Ender 3 because that's the one I'm most familiar with. I also have a monoprice. And it's more of like a box. It's not quite as, I guess, interesting to look at as far as for shapes and things. But the other thing about the Ender is it's almost all black, and so it's like I don't pay attention quite as much to all the little shapes. I guess it just sort of all I just know it's there, and I put it together so I sort of know how it works, and I feel like I'm always trying to repair it. So 3D printing is one of those things that I gotten into at a very introductory level, and it just seems like there's so many things to maintain and keep track of and make sure they're working right. Like I changed the thermistor on my Ender 3. I've changed the filament tubing where the filament feeds through to a higher temperature rated tubing. I've changed the print nozzle. I've changed the bed for the surface of the bed. I've just done a lot, and still I'm having trouble getting the filament to feed through. I get it. I'll even doing it almost at its hottest setting to get the filament to melt enough to push it through the tube, but it just won't push through. And I've cleaned the nozzle multiple times, so it just has provided a lot of challenges. And I know that the Ender is kind of the entry level, sort of not super expensive, but still I feel like I should have gotten more use out of it than I have. But I've had it for a long time now. I actually use it at my school. They actually purchased it for the art department, so that's kind of how I've gotten familiar with it. But we, our middle school art program, our focus group, those are the ones that are really taking art seriously, at least at the middle school level. We're doing a marble roller coaster project, and one of the things that we developed after 3D printing came out was coaster clips. So I've done this project for years and years and years. In fact, it's actually a throwback to my freshman year at NC State at the design school there. That was a project we had, and I loved the project so much that when I got to teach art, I wanted others to experience it. I wanted my students to experience it. So as soon as I felt like, I was working with a group that was kind of would enjoy doing it and it would challenge them in a good way, we created the project for them, Been doing it for over 12 years now, maybe close to 13. I guess 2010, yeah, this will be my 13th year doing it. And when we first started doing it, 3D printing was not anywhere near as popular as it is now, and so it wasn't even a consideration. But now we use the 3D printer to print coaster clips, and the clips actually hold the track together at the perfect distance for the steel ball bearing to travel down. And it's actually made the project a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable, and also allowed students to focus a lot more on how creative they can be with the design of their coaster, because they're not worried about how they're going to attach wire to a track and not interfere with the ball and this and that. It just makes the process a whole lot better. So it's actually really cool, very cool project. And the way we run it, we actually do it as a business lesson as well. So they come up with a design theme for their coaster, something that will be fun to ride and to work on and visually appealing. And then we give them $500 of play money and keep a ledger for them. And so they have to buy all their materials and supplies for their coaster. And of course, all the supplies are already there. They're just kind of buying them at a set price, and they have $500 as their starting budget. And then within the economy, we call it the economy, our class, they can do work for each other, and they can sell things. So if they want to buy something in bulk and then sell it at a higher rate to other classmates or whatever, we allow all those kind of things. They can hire themselves out to do particular jobs for people, like if somebody's really good at drawing or designing a cool, I guess, signage for the roller coaster or something like that. They might hire themselves out for a class and make some money that way. So it's kind of a cool thing. But the culminating event is for the whole school, and we have over 700 kids at our school. And so we have 30 kids in this focus group, and those 30 kids are going to be in the gym with their marble roller coasters, and all day long students will be able to come in by grade level and ride their roller coasters. And so each time a person rides their roller coaster, that's worth $5. And so they see if they can make their money back on the day of the event. And, if they have a roller coaster that's operational and can endure the whole day, they can actually do quite well. And I think that's what's really cool about it from an art teacher perspective is it really makes them respect the supplies and the materials. You don't see people wasting things. We actually have a recycle bin where people can go and kind of dumpster dive for supplies that have been, they can salvage and make use of supplies. So there's a lot of good lessons there about conserving resources and being smart and then just thinking financially. I mean, I hate to say it, but we had a student who went into debt, right, in the process of building their coaster. And once you're in debt, you cannot purchase anything, in the economy anymore. But this student has spent 2 classes working their way out of debt, and I have a little experience with debt in my life, or have had, and it was a long road to get out of it. And so I think that that's something that's extremely valuable for young people to learn early on. Debt can be used. And if you understand the risks and all of those things, that they can be. I personally did not understand the risks when I started to accrue debt, and it was a very big wake-up call for me. And so, my road was one that was very difficult, and if I can save my students any of that trouble, or save my family any of that trouble, I certainly will. And that's one of the reasons I put that in this project and trying to help them out with that. And then just also being business savvy, recognizing that even a creative person has to answer to somebody, right? If their coaster is not attractive or not appealing or not fun, no matter how much they love it or think that it's great, there's going to be somebody else that has something to say about it, and that somebody else is going to be the one who's either going to be excited to ride or is going to dismiss it and not ride it. And so it's helpful for us to think about our skills and our gifts, I think, as not just being for ourselves, but for how they may benefit the larger community. So I think that's one of the things that, hopefully, that's one of the things that students get out of it. Still trying to get this, right, where he's scrubbing his back here. Let's see. The thumb would be right there. It just doesn't look right. I guess maybe if his arm were out further. Gosh, it just does not look right. But anyway, maybe he's just going to be playing with the rubber ducky. I don't know. I don't know why I put him in water since he's printing bicycles. I don't know what bicycles have to do with water except for maybe it's a Red Bull event. They're riding bicycles off into the water. I don't know. What is that event called? I feel like it's right on the tip of my tongue. I've watched some of them recently. Anyway, Red Bull does this hilarious event. I'm sure you're aware of it, where people design things that are supposed to fly, and they drive them off of this huge pier over the water, and they fly for a little ways, and then they crash into the water. And a lot of times the bicycles are part of the apparatus, and they go flying off the end of the pier. I can do that right here. They could be flying off the end of the pier or something. I don't know. Maybe he's just going to be holding some shampoo. I mean, dinosaurs don't really need shampoo. I gotta say. Not many hairy dinosaurs in the world that I've heard of. Maybe it's just some body wash. Maybe it's some soap suds. Maybe? Maybe it's some bath wash. No. A bunch of bubbles floating up because it's just getting out of hand. Maybe that's what's going on. Well, why is a bicycle? Why does he need a bicycle? I don't know. Why does he need 3D printed bicycles? That's an even better question. I'm not sure. Oh, I had something really cool happen in my second grade art class a couple of weeks ago. We were comparing two pieces of artwork, and I'm gonna totally not get these names pronounced correctly, but Albert Dürer, I guess. I thought it was Dürer, and then one of my students was like, no, it's Dürer, so maybe Dürer is right. But Albert Dürer, who is extremely realistic in his approach, painted a hare or a rabbit. And so we were looking at that, and we were comparing and contrasting that with Paul Klee's Cat and Bird. And Paul Klee's Cat and Bird is an abstract piece of art. And true confessions, I have not typically been a big fan of abstract art in the past. I think it just, there was something about it, and probably my own pride and arrogance led me to think of it as a cop-out, maybe that's the way I thought about it, of like, oh, come on, you're just putting paint on a canvas. So we're sitting here with my second graders, we're talking about these pieces of artwork, and one of my students asked about Paul Klee's Cat and Bird. Why is the bird painted the same color as the cat's nose? And if you've seen his work, the cat's nose is a pink heart, and then the bird is on his forehead. And we talked about how, why do you think Paul put a bird on the cat's forehead? And the kids were keen on this. They got it right away. They said, well, he's probably thinking about a bird because he wants to catch it. I was like, yeah, he had a bird on the mind. But then when the student asked me, why is the color of the bird the same as his nose? We talked about it in class, and it made me think, well, maybe it's a way of describing that he can already smell the bird, or he's picking up the scent of the bird, and so he wants that to be associated with the nose. And so then we flipped back over, because I have both slides up on a projector. We flipped back over to Albert Durr's hair, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that, and I'm sorry if this is, like, you probably already know this, but it was a revelation to me. Realistic artwork is meant to capture the outside with all the details and surface, and abstract art is attempting to relate things that you can't see. So thoughts, feelings, emotions, and I thought all of a sudden, wow, cat and bird is not at all trying to capture obviously what the cat looks like, even though you can tell it's a cat. It's trying to do something that is so abstract, and then all of a sudden I grew in my appreciation for abstract art, because I have to think, well, what is more challenging, to draw something I can see or something I can't see? And yeah, it was just really cool, and I was so encouraged that came about with my second grade class, and just I was just stoked about that. And it's just great. I mean, teaching art is just great. Getting input and feedback from students, seeing their enthusiasm for art, and watching them develop their skills and have aha moments, and then having my own aha moments. And yeah, it's just been very, very enjoyable and rewarding. So I enjoy teaching art. I enjoy passing on the things that I've learned. I've had some absolutely phenomenal teachers in my time, and I just am grateful for the things that they showed me. I'm grateful for the way they took time to help and invest in me, and hopefully I can do that too. Hopefully I can help other people who enjoy art, love art, whether they just want to do it for enjoyment and relaxation, whether they would like to improve their skills to try and do it as a profession or as a hobby, whatever, however I can help is sort of what I would like to do. So, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these things. I mean, they're just really random, fun opportunities to be able to draw things in an illustrative style, and a challenge for me. A lot of times when I teach, I don't get to do a ton of creative stuff. I do have creative things, and there are definitely commissions that I work on for clients and things like that in my free time, and all of those things are wonderful, but this is just sort of an outlet that I don't know, I just desired doing it. I thought it would be a lot of fun. I think it would be more fun if more people knew about it, but I'm also trying to figure out exactly what this is going to be. If this is going to be something that I can maintain. I don't want to go and advertise something that I can't maintain and I can't keep up with, so I'm sort of testing the waters and doing this. Tonight, this just happens to be a Thursday. My normal night would be Tuesday, but this past Tuesday was Valentine's Day, and I wanted to spend that time with my family. Family is very important to me, and we work a lot, and my daughter's growing up fast and all of that, so I want to make sure that this is something that is not going to take away from my family, or that it's doable with the other responsibilities I have before I just go out and start telling everybody in the world I'm doing this thing. So, but there is a website, mrhen.com. You're welcome to go over there. If you sign up, you'll gain access to a bunch of free activities. So if you're a homeschool parent and you're looking for activities for your kid, or you just want to grow a little bit, we have everything from free activities to actually a paid art curriculum, and some really cool art projects that I'm working on. I've been doing the art projects with students for years, so they are already, they exist, they just don't exist on the website yet. So I'm getting there. Slowly but surely I'm getting there. So Got some curtains over here. I guess I should start inking at some point. That might be a good idea. I would like to get these tiles worked out. I'm trying to think how big I want these tiles to be. I'm picturing like those little square tiles for some reason. You know the ones I'm talking about? I tell you, one of the hardest things about doing this is not being able to rotate my picture, because that is definitely part of my normal workflow. I like to rotate my page to be able to get a similar angle when I'm doing repetitive lines. So like this, when I would normally be doing tile, or I should say I would normally be rotating the page to be doing these tiles, because it just makes it so much more precise and quick. But oh well, man, that ain't happening right now. So there we go. Yep. I suppose that'll work. Sure, why not? That looks somewhat okay, maybe. I think these tiles need to be up higher, man. I think they're going up to the roof. Yeah, that's what's happening. Oh, there it is. That was El Horrible. Oof, that's hard to do without rotating the page. Wow. Well, like I said, I was looking for a challenge, so I got one. Yahoo. Yeah, some rough tile work, buddy. Whoever tiled this bathroom probably got another job now, because they didn't do this one right. That's a pretty bad tile job, my friends. Wow, this is a mess of a picture. Good grief, I need some bubbles to save this thing. We're about to hide these legs in some bubbles. There are bubbles all over this bathroom is how we're solving this one. Okay, all the tile problems are going to be bubbles now. Yeah, buddy. Wow, yeah. Okay. That is the only way to solve that problem. Okay, when in doubt, just cover up all your mistakes with bubbles. Okay, that's the drawing lesson for today, kids. You don't have to be a good artist. You just have to draw circles really fast. Alright. Yeah, well, that kind of balances it all out and ties it all in. The bubbles! I'm sorry. Get a hold of yourself, man. Alright, so I got a question for you. When you are drawing, what kind of music is your favorite? I would like to know. Comment below. One style that I have really been enjoying starting last year and still into this year is lo-fi chill. And I just go on YouTube and find lo-fi chill. And for some reason that's just got the right, it keeps a beat, it keeps, helps to stay focused, but the lyrics don't distract. It's just man, it's fantastic. I really have been enjoying that. So that's one that I can recommend. So if you've got one that you can recommend, it's just great to draw to or paint to or create, let us know. And I always like finding new bands, and I've been out of the scene for a while. So tell you a band that I really, really enjoyed, and then they're no longer around, I guess. I don't think they're making music anymore. It's Alabama Shakes. That was just a really, really unique sound and fantastic vocals. And, but they did Austin City Limits and did a couple other things, but I didn't find out about them until they were already done. So I totally missed the whole rise and, I don't want to say fall, but when they were gaining in popularity and still working, I didn't know anything about them. So I was way behind the curve, which I tend to be on a lot of things. I'm not one of those people who has to go out and get the best gadget or the newest gadget or anything like that. I wait and see if it's going to be a flop or not, if it's going to be a good product. I wait to hear all the reviews, and I take forever to make decisions. And so, at least when it comes to that kind of stuff, like the new technology, I'm always very skeptical. And I tend to, when I find a brand that works, I become very loyal to that brand because I put a high premium on reliability, knowing that it's going to work the way that I want it to work. And it just really, that really matters. But I think the same kind of can go with music sometimes. It's rare for me to just really get into a band. And when I do get into a band, sometimes I just listen to that band exclusively because I just find their sound so unique or so different or so something that I enjoy. And I like listening to a lot of different things. It's just I won't listen to it over and over and over again unless I just absolutely love it. I don't think everybody's that way. But maybe they are. It just seems like, I don't know. I feel like I'm very picky. I mean, I love good music, but I also feel like I'm kind of picky. I don't like that faucet at all. That ain't convincing me it's a faucet. That ain't. It ain't convincing me. I wonder if I should do a handle. Maybe I'm gonna look up some photo reference for a shower faucet. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Shower faucet. Google's gonna deliver. Yep. Got it. That was the other one I was thinking of, and I thought it was simple, and it is. It looks like a clock handle. There you go. Okay. Cool, I think we're ready to ink this puppy. Hopefully, maybe, we'll see. And my pen. I got another one on the way because I love this thing, and I've got some replacements for it, but I got a feeling this little brush after a while is gonna wear out, and so I want to make sure I got another one in the inventory for when it gives out. I don't want to have to wait once this one gives out to be able to pick up the next one and go. So just ordered that today. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. It's a Pentel, and it's a pretty popular brush. I shared earlier in the earlier episodes this season that I still have a long way to go to learn how to use this brush because it is fantastic, and I am very not as fantastic with it as I would like to be. Yippers. I bet there's a really good way to do circles. What I would like is for the bottom to be thicker than the tops, like this where it's all thick on top. It doesn't look like a bubble, it looks like a stone. The key to making bubbles is really thin lines, and I know you can do it with this pen, but I don't have the skill yet. Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's getting closer. Just when you set the pen down, you're going to get a little bit more, because as the pen contacts it, also right there I've got that hiccup in my movement. I don't know if I come from a more vertical position. No, that's not helping at all. That was not the solution I was looking for. Now that works okay, so I'm actually going counterclockwise, and that puts the shadow right there as I'm coming back, kind of. It's all muscle memory. It's all trying to figure it out. It's like the more I can figure out, the better off it's gonna look. Yeah, so I am not a big fan of those tiles. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. Thinking about using a micron pen for them instead of the brush pen, because I think that might do better. I wonder if the bubbles would be better with a micron pen. I almost feel like they would be. It would at least be a consistent line weight, and I think I like that. I'm not 100%. other things I really enjoy teaching is storytelling, the art of storytelling. If you ever get the chance to read The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell or The Writer's Journey by Christopher Vogler, I highly recommend both of those books if you're interested in storytelling. They are fantastic resources, and I use what I've learned in those books all the time just to even analyze movies, because I'm not a writer so much, although I do have a story that I've been working on for quite some time that I've thought, I've created one comic book based on the idea, and it honestly, the story that I told in the comic book is way before the actual story I want to tell, so it's kind of a weird thing. It's not really getting into the meat of what the story is about. It's just laying some background information in there, but I use the things that they teach are so valuable and so helpful to understand what makes stories compelling, and there's also a lot of real life just kind of experience that ties in with that's so relatable. It's why we relate to movies, is when they relate in some way to our experience, we just tend to connect with them so much, and it's just really cool. I just find it very interesting to study that and pick the great stories that I love apart, and just I marvel at great storytellers and great cinema movies, and not so much the special effects. Honestly, I think special effects are very secondary to me. It's not that I don't enjoy them, but if the story's not there, the special effects just don't really do it for me. It's got to be an interesting story, and it can even be a story about something that I don't particularly have an interest in myself or anything like that, but just the story itself is enough, and there's real, I guess, struggle and real emotion connected to it. There's just heart. It's got heart. A story that has some heart is really those are the stories that I tend to enjoy the most. But I also like it when they're really well thought out. So, at any rate, that's something that I teach all my middle school students, and then we do some illustrations. So we create a story using those elements, and then kind of all write it together, and then each person illustrates it. And I'm still developing that assignment, as we work on it. I've done it before. I've done it before as a movie making, a filmmaking class, and that's awesome with a small group. But then when you get a really big group, that becomes untenable. There's nothing there are always people that kind of tune out and don't find it as interesting, and if they don't have somebody helping them along, they don't find they're not always resourceful in making good use of their time, and so just the larger the group gets, the less valuable it is for each individual, and so I find it better if each person has a little bit of that personal commitment to their own learning and their own process. As much as I love group projects, if I feel like people are just gonna sit back and watch other people do the work, I don't like that at all. So alright. Our dinosaur is pouring out the bubble bath, two-fisted. Just bubbles galore. So there may be some 3D bike printing going on, but this dinosaur is just all about I'm not sure how connected these items are. I mean, it is a random quick draw, right? That is the name of it, so we got the random part for sure. That looks like a rock. These do not look like bubbles. Man, who knew drawing bubbles could be so hard? Oh yeah, I had said I wanted to do that with my other pen. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to recommit to doing that. Alright. Okay. Those table legs. Very interesting. I think that table leg is unrealistic where it's located. I don't think we're going to see a table leg there, friends. I don't think that's where it is. I think the back corner of this table is going to pretty much hide it right behind there. And I don't normally like to do that in a drawing because you're like, what happened to the fourth leg, man? But it's it. That's what happened. The angle was just right on this particular one. My apologies if anyone is struggling with not being able to see that leg. If I thought about it too long, it would make me struggle too, so I'm not going to think about it too long. Alright, so what's one of the best stories you've ever heard or seen portrayed in movies or in a book or in a video game? Oh, and speaking of video games, I know, I already told you, I'm way behind the times. I just got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yes, I know it's been 5 years since it came out, maybe longer. That's okay. So I just started playing. That is a beautiful game. And I knew it was a beautiful game, and I knew I was going to want to play it from the time I saw it 5 years ago. But I don't play a lot of video games, and so I don't have a lot of time to play video games, and so it's gonna sound really bad, but $60 just seemed like, man, I don't know if I want to spend $60. Am I gonna get $60 worth of enjoyment out of it, and this and that? And then it went on sale this past week. And I saw it at Target, and I was like, wait a second, it's only $40. That must mean that it's $40 on the Switch store too. And so I came home, I checked it out. Sure enough, limited time only. There were only a couple of days left. I was like, dead. I could not accomplish that. It would look cartoony. It would not have the right vibe at all. And for a time, that bothered me. Like, I wanted to be able to do that more gritty stuff, and but it just wasn't in me. Like, I just didn't, that's not what was, that's just, I could not enjoy producing it. I could copy things and try to make them look gritty like that, but it wasn't what I was, it's not my vision. It's not what I see. It's not how, and so Zelda Breath of the Wild has a style that is very much akin to what I love. It's beautiful nature. The shapes of the trees and the monsters and everything are kind of fun, and they're very illustrative in their look. It almost feels like you're in a comic book as you're playing, but like a really beautiful comic book. And I enjoy that. And then it doesn't feel like there's constant pressure to like survive. Like you get to tool around, you get to do some things other than fight enemies all the time. You get to solve puzzles and do some different things that really give you different pacing in the game instead of just doing the same thing, only more intense as you go deeper into the game. And I'm sure it's going to get more and more intense as it goes, but I said that I was going to use my Micron pen, and I am not. I said I was going to recommit to it. I have not recommitted, and now I've done so many bubbles that are not with my Micron pen, I almost want to give up on the idea altogether. But I will try, because if this fails, I can always come back. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a better bubble. I mean, wouldn't you agree? It's more round, it's less clunky. Maybe I can get away with drawing enough of these in the picture dispersed around the clunky bubbles that maybe there are clunky bubbles and normal bubbles within the same place. Now, I'm pretty sure I've never said clunky bubbles before, but that's not a bad name. I play Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe my next character will be Clunky Bubbles. I don't know. Maybe not. We got a new session with a new DM coming up this weekend. I'm excited about that because I'm a DM for my home session. We have 6 players now. We started out with just 3, and now we're up to 6, which is really fun. And it's a lot of work, and I really enjoy doing the work. We meet every other week if everybody can make it, and sometimes when somebody can't make it, we still play. But even every other week, there's so much to think about and plan out. And I'm not using a story, I'm homebrewing. I've never DM'd before, and so that's probably part of what's happening. I've pretty much put this on myself. But I'm so creative that I wanted really badly to make up my own story, and I had a story idea in mind, and so that's what we're doing, and man, it's a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. Have a great time. We laugh. Oh my goodness, do we laugh. We get a lot of enjoyment out of it, which is, I think, the whole point. So we're probably not playing according to all the rules. We're probably not aware of a good number of rules, but that's not what it's about for us. So we just have a good time playing. But yeah, I think Clunky Bubbles is a good name, especially for a dwarf or a fairy, maybe like a really strong, I don't know, strong fairy. Are there strong fairies? Clunky Bubbles? I don't know. Maybe a clumsy. No, clunky. I don't know. Hey, I've got a little beverage here. I'm gonna take a sip of my beverage. Tasty. So, that's coffee, but sometimes I have sparkling water. One of my favorite drinks is Red Bull. I used to sell Red Bull. That was a good job. That taught me a lot about sales because when I was selling Red Bull, it was growing very rapidly as a brand, and it was very easy to sell. In fact, sometimes I would walk into stores that didn't have Red Bull yet, and they would say, "I've been waiting for you." That's a fun way to sell. When people want what you're selling, and you don't have to convince them that they need it. That was a pretty cool gig, and it paid pretty well. At the time, they did change our structure after a while because we were doing pretty well. Yeah, he got it under control. But it was sweet for some time. Let's see. All right, little rhino digits here. Little dino claws here. There we go. Don't ask me why his bubble bath looks like Elmer's glue. Okay, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why the bottles look like Elmer's glue. That would be a weird bath. Alright. Let's see what we got here. That's funny. That is a funny drawing. My goodness. This thing is so messed up. I think there's supposed to be a bar across the top here. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be attached up there. I don't know. It's so jacked up. I am not a fan of my 3D printer here that I drew. I feel like that's just not great, but oh well. It is what it is, you know? Not everything's gonna be perfect. I don't think I'm going to draw those tiles in there. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I like this line going right across here, going right across here and here. And I think that line is going to come right across here, right across there. And I think that that might be it, my friends. I think it might be time to erase this guy, maybe. Though I feel like maybe we need some more bubbly bubbles here and here to just indicate that these are all bubbles. Okay. Not to draw every single bubble in there, but I do need some texture to indicate. Whoa, we got lots of bubbles, man. There you go. There are all the bubbles. I think that's good. Yeah, sure. That's perfect. Could be better than that right there. It's not too bad. So yeah, we're getting close on time here. We normally like to go no longer than an hour. We've gone a little bit over an hour. That's okay. I'm just gonna erase the pencil lines and then turn this in. I'll scan it in, and again, it'll be on the website, mrhen.com. Please make sure to tell your friends. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Really would like to get this growing a little bit so that other people are actually drawing along with me. I'd like to see your ideas for what a dinosaur 3D printing with a bicycle in a bathroom looks like. Would really like to see your version of that. And there are lots of different ways to draw this, lots of different ways to think about it. This is one tiny idea, but your idea is probably way cooler than mine. So please go to the website, sign up, download one of these sheets, and play along. And if you upload your drawing to the website, we'll put it in the gallery. And if you don't feel comfortable trying to draw it, just download or print one of these out, color it, and upload that, and we'll enter it into the coloring gallery. So we're just trying to get people aware of what we're doing and get some artists together who would enjoy doing these little challenges and having fun. And if we have enough artists, maybe we'll do a Zoom where we could all just be drawing together. Might be kind of fun. I don't know. Or there might be another platform that would be good for this that I don't know about yet. So if you got any ideas, please let me know. And I'm actually going to erase this later because I'm shaking my camera like there's an earthquake. And yeah, but thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great evening and keep drawing.